I can't do negative today. Positive vibes, positive vibes.
One day I hope you see the truth. This puppet show stays on because of you. We've been dancing with the devil way too long. I know it's fun, but get ready to pay your dues. Oh God, come back home. This crazy world is filled with liars and abusers. We need you now before we're too far gone. I hope one day they finally see the truth. God, we need you now.
Welcome, everybody. It's Justice for All, and I am your host, Jocelyn. A little red here. Sorry, and I've got the big black blob behind me. I'm trying to figure out my Apple computer and how to get rid of my little monster there. But for now, he's going to stay with me. But yeah, it's 101 degrees here. This is day 2. Yesterday was like a mere 97. Today's 101. It is hot as you know what. My sweat is sweating. It is unbelievable. I got in the pool and I was like, okay, I'll cool off just a little bit, get mom in the pool, let her paddle her feet. It was like a bath. It truly was like a bath. It was a little disappointing, but regardless, got out, cleaned the pool, got the leaves out, did some exercise, which, I like very much. My brother's here visiting from the West Coast, giving me a little bit of breather, a little bit of a break. It's just very, very a lot going on up here. This Saturday, we have the Lilac Luncheon. Lilac Luncheon, so I'll put on my lilac clothing. And I think we have a couple of people from Newsmax that are going to be there. I forget who the other guest was, but it's going to be a lovely luncheon, and maybe find out who's going to be running in New Hampshire, which is kind of exciting. Let's see who's going to be announcing. And we'll go from there. So lots going on. Like I said, and it's hot, hot, hot. All the puppies, we had 2 puppies that had surgery. So I'm kind of doing puppy sitting back and forth, which is nice. It's very relaxing, and I get to stay in the house because it's hot and it's air conditioned, and they can't go outside right now because it's way too hot from them. Oh, what else can I say? Oh, my good friend, I'm not going to say who, but really good friend, good buddy, is in Barcelona at a wedding and staying in a castle. Can you imagine? Hi, could you come to my wedding and come stay at my castle? Yes, please, sign me up. I want to go. So lots of fun, lots of people doing things. It is summer, and we really, really have to make sure that we take time for ourselves, spend time with family when you can, because it disappears so quickly. And don't forget, everybody, thumbs up, thumbs up. Come on, share, share, share. We're working hard here. Every minute counts. We spend hours and hours, and I have a fabulous guest, and she's as hot as the weather up here. It's Miss Deplorable Deb, so I can't wait till we get to chit chat with her, which, way back when we had a quick talk before we came on, and we did radio together almost 10 years ago. And she also did radio. Stiletto was doing radio with me back and forth. We were flip-flopping days, and Deb would come on and said, oh, we miss those days of radio. We would just kind of go on a tear, and nobody could stop us. It was 100 miles an hour. And, that's when we first started really being vocal about our politics, really doing extra research, educating other people. And I don't mean, in a bad way, but, hey, did you know this? Hey, did you know that? Did you see this? Did you see that? And bringing people along on our learning curve, because we were learning too. I have to say the last 10 years, I have learned more about state constitutions and the national constitution, the US Constitution. I've learned more about law versus rules and regulations and mandates, which are administrative garbage that needs to go bye-bye. But anyway, just huge learning curve. And then we had Trump get in, and boy, we even learned more, exposing the corruption. How deep is the swamp? You know, not how deep is your love, but how deep is the swamp? And it's deep and wide, people. Learning about fake news, learning about politicians that just flat out lie, are incapable of saying anything nice. Boy, that black blob is really bothering me today. Let's see if I can make it a little smaller now. Oh. Anyway, anywho, got a great show lined up. And without further ado, let's start off with some hypocrisy and lies. And let's see what's stirring in the pot out in the good old USA. Let's go with hypocrisy and lies, Chris, please. All righty. So, without further ado, video number one really is pretty darn good. It's hypocrisy in full view, the full Monty. All the lights are on it. We've got searchlights, flashlights, bright lights. And of course, it's about a certain president that we all wanted to be good, to be awesome, and it's ended up that it was nothing like the bill of goods we were sold. So let's take a peek at video one, please, Chris.
Today I authorized 2 operations in Iraq. Targeted airstrikes to protect our American personnel. Last night, on my orders, America's armed forces began strikes against ISIL targets in Syria. Today, at my direction, the United States launched a targeted operation against that compound in Abbottabad, Pakistan.
They did what?
Today, I authorized the armed forces of the United States to begin a limited military action in Libya. Because
Libya? Oh shit, I ain't never heard of Libya.
To our
That's
national
new.
security, they can take the diplomatic.
So at the end of the day, the question all it comes down to is y'all really mad at the strikes, or is y'all just mad at the person who did it? Because Obama did the same goddamn thing, but we didn't hear nobody talking about he bombed the country and shit. He didn't bomb no fucking body. These are military operations that go on throughout our country. This is why we have a military, the armed forces, the Marines, and all this shit, and have all this equipment that's worth billions of dollars. This is what this is for, to do stuff like this, operations. Where do you think they came up with the game Call of Duty, nigga? Like, y'all liberals think y'all slick though, but best believe though, I'm on y'all ass all day though.
Okay, well, I forgot about some of that language, so keep the children out of the room. They've heard worse on the road, in the schools and out on the roads, unfortunately. But very good point. Nobody said a word when Obama, any of these other presidents, did strikes, allegedly because they were protecting the United States and its citizens. And I put that in quotes because I didn't check that out back then when he was a president, but I'm checking it out now. Here's what's very interesting. I have some supporting evidence for this video clip. Let's look at picture A, please. So these bombings, this is Somalia, 14 bombs not approved by Congress. Picture B, please. Libya, 496 bombs not approved by Congress. Picture C. Yemen, 35 bombs, again, with Obama. Picture D. Iraq, 12,095 bombs. Again, not approved by Congress. Picture, I think I'm on E. If I forget my alphabet, I apologize. 26,172 bombs for a total of 3 bombs per hour of every day. Not approved by Congress. And last but not least, F, Pakistan, 3 bombs. Not approved by Congress. Thank you, Chris. So while they're losing their ever-loving grip on life and going after Trump, look at all those bombings. Not a word, not a peep, crickets. Nobody tore those presidents apart, that president apart. It was something that needed to be done. Congress never questioned it because, bottom line, the president is the commander in chief. And when there is a threat, immediate threat to the United States and any American citizen, they act. They don't need to ask permission. They don't need to pass go. They don't need to get on their knees. They do what they need to do and take care of it. This is what Trump is doing. The difference is that Trump did a targeted strike. Carefully calculated. And I venture to guess, in my humble opinion, that they're all pissed off that there were no leakers. I wonder why. Because I guess the first 4 years was pretty nasty. All right, let's move on. Let's go to picture 1A, please. Big hypocrisy on this one. So, a bunch of illegals are caught driving in Florida without a license. Now they face deportation. Florida crackdown, illegal immigrants are going to be deported. Interesting. Thanks, Chris. You and I try that. You know, we don't have licenses. We're thrown in jail. Thousands and thousands of dollars of fines. Your privileges are taken away. No insurance. Think of all the people that have made a mistake. And I'm not excusing the mistake, but let's compare apples to apples. They drive around, they kill people, they buy cars, they don't have insurance, no driver's licenses, human trafficking, sex trafficking, gun trafficking, you name whatever, you're being deported. Bye-bye. Okay, which should happen. But what would happen if you and I even attempted one little thing like that? The key would be thrown away and we'd be in the deepest, darkest dungeon. That's what bothers me. Let's go to picture 1B. This is another one that kind of irks me. Dual citizenship. Now, this is in Iran. If you're living in Iran, and I've talked to several people over in the Middle East, and I have friends in Egypt, and they're American, born in America with, dual citizenship. They have an Egyptian passport. They can't leave Egypt right now. If you plan to leave Iran, if you have a U.S. Iranian dual national, they must exit on your Iranian passport. Be prepared to encounter checkpoints and talk to authorities. They don't recognize, Iran does not recognize dual nationality and will treat U.S. Iranian dual nationals solely as Iranian citizens. So you're at, significant risk. May not be allowed to leave, which is what's happening in Egypt. So a couple of my friends here in the States are not traveling there because their family said, I don't know if you can get back out, even though they're American, but with dual citizenship because their parents are from Egypt and they came here legally. So you have to think about some of the ramifications of this in these countries that everybody is in the colleges that they're protesting about and raising flags, of other countries that, oh, by the way, isn't their country. This is America. You wanted to be here. It's a privilege, not a right. They need to go too. But when we're looking at actual citizens that aren't able to come back or are really having to think that they can't leave, you have to think about what's going on. So, point being, I'm pretty sure, I know the number is over 75%. I can't remember the real actual number. I think it's much higher. Of the politicians in DC, all have dual citizenship. And most of them are with Israel. So, do you see our government treating them differently? Do you see our government locking them away? Do you see our government saying you can't do this, you can't do that? Wake up, people. This is the freest country in the world, and you're allowing terrorists and murderers and illegals and people with bad intentions to mess up this country. And you want to give them all the equal rights of an American citizen. I'm sorry, if you're not a citizen, you don't get the equal rights to us. It's that simple. And especially when you're running around and protesting with another country's flag and shouting death to America, et cetera, et cetera. I don't have any patience for that. Here's another one. Picture 1C. We're all talking about AI and electricity. Came across this chart, Fox Business. So AI takes a pile of electricity, and you know what your bill is. You know our bills are going up. You know that, oh, we need more wires. We need more this. And we're paying for the infrastructure, but they keep charging us, even though we're paying to build everything. When they, this is the terawatt hours of powering the AI revolution as of 2023. Look how much electricity China's using. All the way out to the end of the chart. Then the United States, then India, then there's the data centers in general. I think those are worldwide. Then you have Russia, Japan, Brazil, Korea, Canada, Germany, France. So who's using the most electricity? Who's building the dirtiest coal plants? Who is the person, country that's vacuuming and suctioning up all the natural resources? China. And we're all having to kill the cows, not let them fart, shut down all the different businesses because there's too much. Oh, we got to keep it green. We can't have anything. How about we look at the countries that are causing the most, here's the word we should be using, pollution. Just saying, throwing it out there. You decide, you do your research, but this is right in front of us all. And you're getting bogged down, I want to say sometimes with too much politics when you need to be looking at the full picture. How does it affect you and your family right now? Your neighbors, your friends? Collectively, how is this affecting you? And collectively, how do you need to fix it? Not look at me, not look at Deb, not look at Stiletto, not look at all, Regina. All the people that are pro se in the courts, out there on the streets doing, we've been doing flag waves for 10 years before flag waves were a flag wave. Nonstop, raising money generally from whatever we can do to be able to do shows like this and bring them to you. Same with the radio shows. So it all matters. All this hypocrisy, all these different stories, you need to be looking at them because it's very multifaceted and you can't be in tunnel vision. Trump's going to fix this or this one's going to fix that. No, we need to be fixing it. We need to be talking to our politicians. We need to be talking with each other and looking at the Constitution and looking at the Bible and saying, you work for us. This is what we expect. Do it. And when they don't, you're going to be not voted out. We got to get back to you're fired because that's what the Constitution says. Break your oath of office. You're fired. And we fire you, not the governor, not the AG, not the Secretary of State, not the Senate, not the this, We, the people. We got a lot of people with a lot of stuff to say, and that's fine. That's your First Amendment right. but don't poop on my parade and don't tell me what I can think and what I can do, because I have First Amendment rights as well. But patriots know the Constitution, and it's about time we, the people, hold our employees. Did you ever think of it that way? They are our employees. They work for us. You're fired. $174,000 a year, but they're all multimillionaires. But $174,000 a year. And benefits, they don't have our benefits. They don't pay into Social Security. They all have their special, super secret benefit package that they have for life. I didn't get a package for life. Did you get a package for life? Did you get a pension for life? A big ass pension that somebody else paid into it? No, I don't think so. All right, let's take a quick peek at picture 1D. Another hypocrisy. Clinton can, but Trump can't. So here's a little tidbit. Signed into law by Billy Boy on September 30th, 1996, the Illegal Immigration Reform and Immigrant Responsibility Act. Whoa, IIRIRA. What BS? You need to grab that one, Stiletto. This is one for you to go nutsy on Thursday. IIRIRA. God, that sounds like Biden. Ooh, did I say that out loud? I'm sorry. Allows deportation without a judicial hearing through a process called expedited removal. Whatever happened to that act? Where did it go? The other thing I heard today, educated on, is that ICE can only pick up and remove people that have a path of deportation. In other words, the country that they left because they didn't like it. My government doesn't like me. I'm sorry, that's not a reason. And if you do, you have to stop at the very next country that you pass into, not pick and choose along the way which one's fits you the best and which one's going to give you the most money. Just saying. Lost my train of thought. Whoops. Anyway, sorry about that. It was leaving your countries. Oh, that ICE can only remove them if they have a path of deportation. So if the country they came from will not take them back, they can't deport them. They have to hold them. But they can only hold them for a certain amount of time. So here we go again with criminals, illegals. They're not immigrants, because that's something completely different. Don't mix up the two words. Don't intermingle them. Don't commingle them. Getting more rights than we, the people, do. And that's something we need to look at. Why do non-citizens, illegals, and criminals have more rights than you and me when we are footing the bill 100%? Your and my tax dollars being used for purposes not intended and not in the Constitution. All right, I'm going to leave it right there. I did want to tell you one little thing that I did today that was really kind of exciting. I'm a little nervous. I bought some Bitcoin. It's $105,000. I think I bought like $120 worth. So it's probably just a little shaving in that coin wallet somewhere. I did it. I stuck my toe in. I gave it a chance. Full disclosure, I'll let you know how it goes. And when I become a millionaire. Not. But I manned up, I got brave, and I bought some Bitcoin. All right. There you go, Miss Canadian Carly. All right, let's go to a quick break, have a little laugh. And on the other side, we're going to have Miss Deplorable Deb from down in Florida. And let's find out what's going down there.
The cameraman, we got the president. There's President Trump. President Trump right there is looking at his flagpole and the new flag. When you're there, there's waving to he's pointing right. He's very proud of that flag. You see, Brat, you see that magnificent, huge flag? and think we've always
I
just had
loved
the
it.
very small flag on the top of it. You actually.
I was in the other
understand
day when he
recording.
was in. I was sitting in for you when he was installing it. And he was smiling from ear to ear.
There we go. That's Miss Deplorable Deb, and Chris made a fabulous intro for her. I love it. You love it, Deb?
Yeah, it's very nice. Thank you,
I
Chris.
love it.
Thank you,
And of
Jocelyn.
course, that's our favorite person, Stiletto, singing "Women, Women, Women" for Trump. So
Yeah, I
very.
remember when she did that song.
I know. We were on the radio.
Radio, yep.
Yep. Fabulous. So tell me, what is going on down in Florida?
Well, with Florida, I don't know if you guys see, I did a video the other day because one of our sheriffs here in Brevard County just totally told the rioters that, we're going to shoot you dead, like that graveyard dead. It was the funniest thing because Florida is not playing, and that's why I say I'm happy to live here. We're not in, even Governor DeSantis, and I wish that all the other states would follow through with these illegals. But Jocelyn, I got to say something. It's very simple to get rid of all this rioting and that, because I say that all they have to do is stop the people that are funding it. Those NGOs, because what gets me is that they talk about free speech. But listen to what I think about all the time.
Okay.
How could they be allowed to even have a protest when they're being paid? Okay? I think of free speech of the person wanting to go. But if you stop paying all these people, we won't be having these protesters. Okay? That's the problem. So they have to find the same way. You can't tell me they can't find out who put a pallet of bricks on the street and the concrete.
Yep.
That's because the Democrats think they're still in power. The greatest thing that happened today was with Al Green, okay? Not the singer. The idiot that all he does is do articles of impeachment.
Yep.
Do you know today 128 Democrats voted against it? It was 344 to 79. Do you know what that's saying? Just like I say, the Democrats are getting tired.
Yeah.
Okay? They're tired of it. And again, what is President Trump doing? He's bringing people together. Just like 2 weeks ago, may they rest in peace. That couple,
Yes.
the Democratic senator. I mean, that is sad that morning she comes on and says that she voted with the Republicans because it's the right thing to do, just like Fetterman. People think that he's loony. He's the only one. That's the way it should be. But look what the Democrats are doing. They're getting violent. Okay? When they shot them, okay, look how far they're going. And it's sad. It really is.
Did you hear? I think I reported it not last week, the week before, that the criminal that shot them had a list of 45 politicians in Minnesota and was going down the list one by one by one. And even the police officers, the real police officers that rolled up and saw him in a uniform and the unmarked, still was never picked up on it. So I just found it to be really odd always round that it took such a long time for them to figure out he was a fake police officer. And
Absolutely. And you know who's involved with that? Tim Walz, the same idiot that ran with Kamala Harris. And he also, if I have it right, he wanted someone to actually take out Amy Gorbachev. This is what these people are doing because he wanted that seat. See, I'm always going to say this. We talk about how long we've been doing this. You and me both said we feel like we went to Trump college. That's how I feel.
Yes.
But look how he has to drain the swamp. He has to show all the people the bad that they're doing. And this is what's happening. They're killing themselves. They are flipping out. That's why I've been saying right now, I think it's 19%. They have 19% and President Trump is at 56% of approval. Okay? It's sad. By the time we get in 28, this is going to be a no-brainer. Okay? It's going to be a no-brainer because they're literally losing and they're becoming violent.
Well, to go back to what you were talking about, cut off the NGOs, cut off
Yes.
cut off all the people that are paying.
And they need to be arrested. The
Right.
NGOs, Soros and that, because I've been saying this. If you take these people that are causing this trouble and there's no payment there, they're not going to do it. I
Correct.
saw this when the Supreme Court did Roe versus
v.
Wade.
Yep.
They kept it was the mainstream media that was lying to the people. We did not have these protests. We didn't have that because it gets stopped. This is what they're doing now in Florida. They're taking these people right off the street. You can't, if you block a car,
You can be
they're
run
giving
over.
us permission to run them over.
Yep.
That's
Get
what
up
has to
the way or
happen.
get run over. Well,
And arrest them and keep them in jail just like they did with J. Sips.
Six. Well, and get to that point. So if somebody's paying
They
for
are
these
being paid.
protesters,
Yep.
how do they have? I don't know how if I'm saying this right, but how do they have First Amendment rights?
That's what I'm talking about.
Because they're being paid to say
Right.
this. They're being paid to
Yes.
be violent.
The
So how do
Yeah.
they get First Amendment rights? Because they're not really voicing their opinion and they're taking.
I've
out
been
the right.
saying it for years. I've been saying it for years. I think people thought I was crazy. When you think about it, they are being paid. That to me is illegal.
Yep.
Okay, it's been illegal. But the problem is when you got Democrats and you got Republicans that are also in on it because it should have stopped. These NGOs are brazen. They're the ones that are doing the trafficking. They're doing everything with the border and nothing gets stopped.
Correct.
And once the money stops, okay, it's just like with Elon Musk and what he's doing with Doge. The first thing, they have to get to the fraud and all that waste. Then the next thing, President Trump and whoever, I guess Doge, they have to go and get these judges.
Yep.
See, these judges that are making these decisions because it was all planned. They've had this plan since the 2020 election of what they were going to do.
So
I'm part of it.
I've got a question for you because I was reading, everybody's saying, oh, they're bringing, them all across the border so they can vote. Yeah, I think that's the end game, but I think there's a mid game. I think there's something in the middle. And I think that when you bring this many illegal people and you put them into blue cities, when the census comes along, it expands the census, astronomically. So those Democratic cities get more representation in Washington, D.C., which null and voids all of us. So number one, they need to change that the census can only be for American citizens. It needs to not just be mailed to them because, here we go with mail-in census is no different than mail-in ballots. So you can see this whole, side-by-side cheating going on. And it's sickening. Again, where are my rights? Where are your rights?
Right. And also, I'm not sticking up for illegals, but there are illegals that have been lied to.
Yes.
Okay. They're being lied to by NGOs. They're being lied by their own country, because these countries, like when President Trump says they're sending their enemies here. So I always say it, once they get here, we have to stop the funding that still goes to these countries.
Correct.
Okay. You have to stop that. So once they clear out, just like Elon Musk did with Doge, once they start to clear out all the Democrats and all the Republicans, why they got so rich, the biggest thing are these judges, okay? I noticed it when Trump won in 2016, and we were all happy. Then all of a sudden one day, he's working on the wall, and I hear, I'm driving, that a judge just put a halt on Trump's wall.
Yep.
And I'm like, where the hell are we that a judge that we didn't vote for,
Correct.
okay? The people didn't vote. So what gives him that right when Trump is the highest, he's the only person in the executive branch that he makes those decisions. But this is what they did. This is what the Soroses did, these people in other countries. They wanted to infiltrate, put these judges in from other countries, okay? Bring these illegals in. The biggest thing was the DACA children, okay?
Yes.
People don't know this. There was a girl, because I read up on this, that she was brought in, then guess what? As she's getting older, she got free school, free college, and then what do you think she does? She decides to be a lawyer, not a bankruptcy lawyer, not a lawyer for a divorce. She becomes a lawyer for the immigration.
Oh.
See what I'm talking about?
Yep. So we're...
Yes, and this is how they did it. This has been going on for years, okay? I think for years, even before Obama got in, okay, of the plan that they were going to do to destroy our country.
Oh, it's
Exactly
definitely
what
been
they
in for
did.
decades. And then we've got the USAID. I mean, they've shone light on that. I think we need to stop funding other countries.
That's
Please,
right.
completely stop. The UN, NATO, all the rest,
Right.
pull it back, because we're funding it all, and it's just getting sent to every Tom, Dick,
And just
Harry.
funding that, they're funding to kill Trump.
Yes.
That's another thing. This is what they're doing. But I keep saying it. We have to get rid of both parties. I'm always going to say it. Look at now. You got Marjorie Taylor Greene. I don't know what's up with that. Her talking shit. Now, I'm being honest with you. You got all these others. I'm seeing it here on TikTok, because now they're going against Trump. And again, what do? I keep telling people, follow Trump. Just stay on focus with Trump.
Stay in the lane. Stay in the lane. I know, it's like you get so far, but then you have to say, okay, is that paid opposition? You know, it's just, we don't know anymore. Why do they flip? Why do they flip like that? It makes no sense. So that's
because they're all somewhere. They're all in on everything. You know, like when you think about it, it's common sense. This doesn't take a genius to say, okay, look up the salaries of these people, right?
Yep.
They make maybe 100,000, 200, but why is it that every single one is a millionaire? You know
Correct.
why? Because they're talked into. You got to go with the flow, okay? You got to go with the flow. And I don't care how nice they are, Jim Jordan, all of them. For me, they all got to go.
Yep.
That's how I see it. We have to have a different government, just like President Trump said. It's going to be a smaller government.
Right.
And that's the way, because what they want to do is they want to tell Trump what to do.
Right. Well, because they always have, but the government's supposed to be funded by tariffs, because that's how it was initially set up.
Yep.
And not funded by the taxpayers, you know?
It was politicians that did the people.
Yep.
Okay? They're the ones that created all of this with our taxes. Technically, we shouldn't be paying taxes,
Nope.
but they put it on us, and it became a circle. It, like Ring Around the Rosie, and they found a way of how they're going to get rich, and that's what's happening.
And you brought up Jim Jordan and these people, and you hear them in these committee meetings, and they sound great. And I think some of them, like Kennedy and Jim Jordan, those guys, and who's the other one? He looks like Tom Cotton, but it's not Tom Cotton. I can't think of his name. But anyway, they do a great job at questioning who's brought in front of the Congress, but nothing ever happened.
We went through that. This is why the people are fed up.
Yep.
We see it. We watch. This is what I was telling you, how all of this affected, okay? 10 years of doing this affected. There's people that have broken up, families dismantled, okay? Then in the middle of that, they throw in the COVID thing, okay?
Yep.
We went through a whole medical thing.
Correct.
So one thing that I realize with them, they're mad because they actually lost the people. They're losing them. Whether Trump is in or not, we have our own mind now, okay? The MAGA movement is just going to get bigger and bigger because it is. More people realize that they can't be in power anymore because the Democrats are not the same Democrats like my parents.
Correct. They're not the same. I wanted to touch on, you had said to me, some of the things that had changed our lives in the last 10 years. And, we went from some pretty hefty radio shows, just nonstop, 2, 3, 4 times a week. We were able to discuss practically everything and anything. And then all of a sudden, Trump starts creeping up on the scene, and they start shutting down the stations. They start censoring. They start diminishing our numbers on Facebook, diminishing our numbers. TikTok wasn't so big back then, but, LinkedIn and stuff. And, you can't put that there. That's politics. You can't this, you can't that.
Well, what about when they got rid of Paula? Okay, another website opened up and they got rid of that. The problem is we all, because of our support for President Trump, it affected us in everything.
Yep.
This is why, like I said, I was never into all of this. And then when I couldn't believe what they were doing to this poor man when I worked in the city, okay, I saw everything he did in New York City. I didn't understand it. Then we saw that, look, we went in an up and down roller coaster. We watched him in 2016, went through the primaries, all of that, beating 16 people, okay? Everything they did, and it affected us even mentally, okay? Because I would get up sometimes in the morning crying because I knew something he said, and then right away, no, I'm coming on because I wanted to keep everybody focused. Okay.
Correct.
We had to do that. We did that with the radio show.
Yep.
Okay. But then look what happens. You get people that own the radio show. All right. And then look what happened. Because they were really Republicans, they had to listen to all the liberals because
Correct.
It's the liberals that were funding. What did I say to you before? If we were Democrats, we would be having all the money coming in. You and Stiletto would have the whole show paid
for.
Yeah. And I saw that. Nobody wanted to fund you or anybody else.
Correct.
Because it's not that way.
And it was the same with the radio, with
right.
business people, that, the ones that were big enough and strong enough that they could, make a donation,
Right.
a couple $1,000s, because, radio's thousands, and that came out of our pockets. I think Stiletto in the second or third year got a sponsor, and Karen and I got a big sponsor, and so we added more hours.
Yeah.
But the only reason we got sponsors was because the public and what was going on didn't affect their business. But they didn't go past 6 months because the flack they took for it was not worth it. and they were staunch, patriots and Americans. And they finally had to say, this is crazy, because the insanity of the left and the rhinos or the liberals really made life horrible. There was an incident at the station. I don't know if you remember it, and we got doxxed. Some wacko guy with the liberal left got hold of a.
Wasn't that Turtle Boy?
Yeah,
That was Turtle Boy.
Turtle Boy.
Remember what? And then all of a sudden he wrote something about me.
Yep.
You don't remember that? These people are crazy, but
They are, but they doxed us, and that's dangerous.
Yeah.
It was so bad the one night that it exploded on me, and I didn't even have anything to do with it. It's just he didn't like something that I said one night, so he went after me. I had to drive to a dead zone so that I could turn off my phone, because every time I disconnect, they have an auto dialer, and it would auto dial you right away. And I had to find a dead zone just to turn off my phone. By the time I got home, I had 3 cop cars at my house. I can't tell you how many messages on my iPad and my phone. Are you okay? Okay. Do I need to come over? What's going on? They're nuts.
But this is what they did.
Yep.
Look at when we sit, we could probably do a whole show on all of that, just going through, even when COVID happened. You know, and the sad thing is, when President Trump won in 2016, we were all relieved. Like, people would say, Deb, are you still going to be on? And I would say, yeah, I'll be on. Did we ever think it was going to happen? Could we imagine what happened? And then we watched what they did in 2020.
Yep.
And we all stayed. We all stayed put. We took the slings and the arrows and whatever. And then, they staged everything. Right down to January 6th.
Yep. You're
Very
absolutely
sick.
right. Yep.
And now they're doing the same thing with the illegals.
Correct.
A lot of these riots and protests, they're pre-planned. See, they thought when the whole crap with George Floyd and all of that happened, remember something. Look at all the damage these people did, right? These protesters, whatever. Okay? They didn't spend one day in jail.
Nope.
The poor J6s, look what happened to them.
And
I heard the most stupidest thing today. One of the J6s that have been released, the wife of one of the cops that he committed suicide, she won with some nut of a judge wanting him now, the J6er, after what he's been through, has to now pay her $500,000 in restitution, something to her, because they're claiming he caused her husband to commit suicide when all of that was staged on them.
That's sick.
And this is what I'm saying, Jocelyn. They have to do something with these judges. Once these judges are gone, including Letitia James, all of them, it will be a different country, because there's no sense, like right now, we want to see a lot of these people, like these Congress people that are involved, we want to see people arrested. But what purpose is it going to be when we still got these judges, okay, that are going to let them off?
Well, what we have to remember is that a lot of these courts and judges are administrative, and they were made by the Congress.
Right.
So therefore, they can be abolished by the Congress. They are what's the terminology? It just went out of my head. But they don't necessarily make reports. I can't think of the word. But in the court, they don't take proceedings and they don't type it all down. It's an administrative court. They have no authority, because the Congress had no authority to give them authority to throw us in jail, to fine us. All the driving courts, all the family, all those are administrative, and that is not constitutional law. They cannot be judge, jury, and prosecutor, especially when they don't have the authority. And that's the biggest problem we're dealing with. So Congress, which is not going to happen, needs to shut them all down and go back to the original proper superior courts, Supreme Courts,
Right.
and district courts in every state, and get rid of these administrative courts.
It's gonna, like I say, I let President Trump be President Trump. That's what we have to do. But at the same time, there's many things happening. It's happening. Not everything is exposed to us. Little by little, they
Right.
even talked about these judges. Every time something's brought up, then we see what's happening with them.
Yep.
Everybody that has been part of the steal of 2020, because I still say, as a country, we can't go forward
Until
they correct 2020.
Yep.
Because down the road, it will not be correct for your grandchildren, your children. And then you know what happens? You get another idiot that's into history and sees, wow, look what these people did. How about we do that?
Correct.
Okay? We don't want that. We won't be here, but hopefully somebody's going to remember us, of what everything with the whole Trump movement.
Correct. You're absolutely right. Let's go to break 2 and come back and discuss a couple of videos here before we finish up at the top of the hour. So hold on to your hats, everybody. We'll be back in about 30 seconds.
Time's moving, time keeps moving ahead. Let's make the future bright. Time's moving, kids should be looking up to us to make it right. Gotta give up.
I love stiletto songs.
I know. My favorite are the oldies but goodies. I mean, that's how, when I met her, that's how I know her. So they're like my favorite. I love the new, but in my heart, I love the originals from way back when. That's how we all met. So let's look at some little bit of positive and good things that are going on. Chris, let's look at video 2, please.
President, for one, I will reiterate, has been very clear on his priorities with respect to Medicaid. He wants to see waste, fraud, and abuse ridden from the system to protect it for tax-paying citizens who deserve those much-needed benefits. He wants to prioritize the sick, the needy, the poor in this country who deserve those benefits, not the 1.4 million illegal aliens who are receiving them. And he wants to make sure this one big, beautiful bill kicks those illegal aliens off of this program to preserve it and protect it and strengthen it for the American people. And the president has been very clear in that message to his friends in the Senate.
You know what gets me mad with that? How do we have 1.4 illegals even having anything from us when they broke the law? Okay? They came over, they broke the law. If me and you went over to another country, we'd be in jail within 10 minutes.
Correct. Or deported immediately.
That's right.
With a nice footprint on our backside. But they had to have gotten light. In order to get Medicaid and Medicare, they had to have gotten Social Security.
Of course.
Biden gave away, I can't remember how many million Social Security, and Obama did the same thing because there was a place up here in New Hampshire in Portsmouth. I had done a show and somebody reported to me that he brought all these people in. They had no paperwork, no nothing. He built them from scratch. Built them a whole identity.
Jocelyn, Obama and Biden should be arrested for aiding and abetting these illegals.
Agreed.
Even the airlines, when in 2023, when we're all sleeping and they're bringing these people in on planes, landing at Westchester Airport, landing at Tampa Airport. I sit here and I go, they need to arrest those pilots. they need to arrest the attendees, every single person that allowed those planes to take off.
Correct.
Okay, and come here. All of that. And you know what gets me? They want to say, oh, our immigration laws are broken. No, it's not. We have one of the best immigration, just like Mexico. And it says it in there. If you are aiding and abetting an illegal, you are breaking the law.
Yeah, correct. So you should be arrested.
Exactly. Biden should have been impeached for that.
Absolutely. Oh, Gitmo.
Yeah, the Democrats should be impeached for that.
Exactly. Let's take a peek at video 2A, please.
I love it. I love it.
I love the music, but I love the positivity of that. I love that he said this is from what country he's from. This is who he supports.
Right.
He's out there, you know, doing exactly what you're supposed to do as a Trump supporter. And here we have actual Americans that, you know, you don't all have to support him. I'm not saying that, but
We
you
have
also don't
Congress
have to be
people
rude.
that fly over and are there supporting that freaking illegal.
Yep.
Okay? How is that allowed? How was it that he wasn't arrested with all the other jackasses, I call them, that went over there?
Correct.
Okay? Because they violated the Logan law.
Yep. Yep. And I want to know who paid to bring him back.
Yeah.
What do you mean you brought him back? And now he's using up court time? I'm sorry, I need court time. We've got pro se litigants and Americans that need court time. We need to move this stuff along. And you're giving him money and time? No.
I think it's a sadness to the parents of the girls that he actually killed. And then you're watching them having some type of justice. And this poor mother is never going to see her daughter or the daughter that had kids and now their children. What is the message to that mother and those children that are going to grow up? Pretty soon, those kids are going to say, this can't be my country, when they're supporting the person. This is why, how you know, these Democrats are being paid.
Yep.
Okay?
Yep.
They're being paid to do this. And that's why all of that has to go. Once you get into that, it will be done. Because you can't just drain the swamp and leave the core. It's like cancer. Okay? You got to get it out.
Yep. So to me, the politicians are no different than the protesters. They're just paid.
Exactly.
It's money laundering. All right. So on a positive note, I'm going to finish with picture 2C. I love this one, Chris. It's Trump, peace through strength, which we've known all along.
Absolutely.
Don't you love that one?
Yep.
I think that's just a beautiful, beautiful picture. I think that would, I'm kind of tired of t-shirts, but you know what? I'd like to put that on a vest, you know, just an over vest. Well, let's bring Miss Deb right on back. And I want to say thank you for joining me. As always,
You're
it's
welcome.
a pleasure.
Anytime, all you got to do is put the bat light on, Deb.
Deb. Yeah, well, once a month, and if I need you earlier, I will absolutely call. Hugs to everybody down there. Lots of tummy tickles and ear tickles for all the pups down there. And we will see you next time.
Okay, love you.
All right,
Love
take care. Love
guys.
you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
You're welcome. Bye. Without further ado, everybody, I want to thank you for joining us and joining me tonight. And I hope you enjoy the outros. Remember, give us a thumbs up, share, share, share. And if you can possibly purchase a mug, purchase a t-shirt, or if you just want to subscribe, give us $1 a month to help pay for StreamYard. It's a couple $1,000s a year to get these shows going. We're independent. We don't take money from any, groups or anything. It's all ourselves and the people that love us and watch us. So I want to say thank you. Blessings to all. Keep cool. Eyes on a swivel. Support our president and support, first and foremost, the Constitution of the United States. See you next time.